The second thing is, and like I said before, I think the jury selection is the biggest thing. I think I said before, and I'll say it again, I think we had a really good jury. These were very conscientious jurors. They were put in a unique situation. We've never had a situation where we've spent, a week, almost 5 days, picking a jury where they're sitting alone, for days on end before they even start hearing the case. With that being said, they paid attention. They asked good questions. They were engaged that entire time. So this was a really good jury from my perspective, and I can't always say that. The questions they asked were, for the most part, on point when they're going through that process, and they spent a long time in deliberations. So they took this case, gave it the seriousness that it should have gotten. Now, I know some of the numbers have been out there. From my understanding, this did play a role in my decision making. It initially came out as 4-4-4, kind of a split. Or kind of undecided. It did shift to 7-5, I think right about the time we got the first maybe we're hung kind of a response from the jury, and then it moved 10-2 for not guilty. So that does play a role, and so with that being, I took a look at what is our history in our office in terms of trial, and quite frankly, we've had about 15 hung juries in the last 6 years, and we've only retried one in that 6-year period, and that was 11-1 for guilty. And looking at the facts of that case, it was a pretty overwhelming case, and so that's a case where you have a rogue juror. This was not a case with a rogue juror. I think this case, they paid attention, they did a lot to try and arrive at a verdict, and they couldn't arrive at a verdict. So then it goes back to, okay, what do I do differently? What can we do differently the next time we have this jury panel, or to select a jury? I looked at what we did in the process. There were 43 strikes for cause. A lot of those were, they couldn't spend the time, they had conflicts, whatever it may be, but out of those, I recognized there were 15 that we said showed a bias to our case, at least in the process right there when we're questioning them. That didn't even reach, we had identified 30 before we even started selecting a jury of what I would term problematic jurors that I could say, geez, they're going to be a problem if we get them on the panel. They didn't make it into the jury box. So we then used 10 of our 12 peremptory challenges. I talked about this earlier where we cleaned out people that after they came forward and for whatever reason, for a variety of reasons, some of which had ties with law enforcement, that we did everything we could. I can't eliminate everybody that has ties to law enforcement, because I've heard that out there is that, well, there's people on there that had ties to law enforcement. You're not going to eliminate everybody. That's not possible. So that's always going to be a factor. So what it boils down to is, I put the best case I could forward. When I tried this case, I did the best I could. I did everything I could. The jury couldn't reach a verdict. I still stand by the decision.